the sound of someone eating. Which for me is like pretty far down on the list of things that makes it like fun, but it is what it is, right? Let's go full screen here. So here's what we got. Unfortunately, I don't really have like an amazing setup to show you the food and myself. People on actual mukbang streams are like, they have like an elevated table and like they don't have like a monitor stand, or they put their camera somewhere weird. I don't know which one. And then they and they have like the food in front of them while they eat it, you know. And I just like I don't see how to get that set up, if I'm being completely honest. Although I do have a camera stand. Nah, I think the camera stand only goes like here though. Nah, that wouldn't work either. Yeah, so you get what you get, alright? That's what it is. So, right now, I know this looks really weird because the camera doesn't really do it justice. But this is called Bossam, right? There's a cat thing next to your bed. Oh, it's a sleeping mask. It's from the Pyeongchang Olympics. So this is Bossam. It's called Bossam. It's boiled pork. And that's literally what it is. If you're like, can you describe it in more detail? I'm gonna be like, I don't know how to do that. It's boiled pork. But boiling pork instead of like frying it gives like this really unique taste. And then what makes it really unique, what makes it a whole process, is that, and I shouldn't put that back yet. Maybe a close up. So you have your ssamjang, I believe that's what that is, which is like it's not gochujang, which is the spicy paste that everyone knows Korea to have. It's actually a soybean paste that is almost like, sweet's not the right word, but it can be a little sweet for sure. But it's actually really, really good. I bet it's one big slipper. Oh, damn, how'd you? You got me, man, you got me. Wah! So I also made a very poor decision today and wore a white t-shirt with all of this Korean food that is definitely red. Because most Korean food, to be honest, is. They really do like their gochujang here. That's not a, that's not some, like, American propaganda or some shit. It's real. Kimchi comes with everything. Gochujang can be asked for everything without any judgment. But you also get some garlic, and then you also get some, I believe, chives or something like that, or spring onions, with some gochujang. Well, gochu pepper on it, actually, because gochujang is like the paste, and then gochu would be, I guess, the thing they call the pepper, which is actually apparently Mexican. Is it usual for Korean people to eat a lot of meat? Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. It's you know, for them, in every culture, food is a bonding experience, but obviously in some different cultures, it's more diluted than others. So in America, I mean, the typical experience of sitting down with your family at the dining table is still kind of what you're like supposed to do. But realistically, so many families like, thanks, mom, and they go up to the room or whatever. But in Korea, it really is social activity, and that's why mukbangs also got really popular, is that people did not like eating alone. So watching other people eat and talk was actually kind of fun. You know, weird, but true. So my point was that it's like, you know, they probably have a very simple meal for, they don't even really, like, they don't really have breakfast. Like, there's no really Korean breakfast food. They have baked bakeries and baked goods and leftovers, but not quite the same as America. And then lunch is probably pretty small, and then dinner is where it's really at. Because when dinner happens, you also hang out with friends and drink soju and whatnot. Vacasting, that's kind of what I'm doing. That's a good word for it. I'm vacasting. I'm vacation casting. So a lot of their dishes do have meat in it, but I think their overall consumption of meat isn't too bad. Nice eye mask. Thanks, Olivia. Hot dogs are the perfect food for taking, run away, and eat them alone. Don't touch hot dog. And also, by the way, I don't know if that's actually a cat. I think that's like a bear or something. I'm not even sure. The place is a total mess. I definitely had the thing to control the air conditioner on or something. It's about to get warm, guys. Yes, rice and kimchi is certainly a standard. So the other things I got besides that bossam is I got some kimchi jigae, which jigae is just stew. This has kimchi in it, and then rice with the kimchi, multi-grain mixed in with an egg on top. Then I got my little side dish of like just kimchi. Bossam also comes with this dipping sauce, which you can't really see, but if you were to hold it maybe closer, you'd see that there's little squigglies in there. Yeah, those are tiny little shrimp, brine shrimp, I believe, right? And it is a bit fishy, but it actually can be a very good dipping sauce. So don't judge until you try it. Thank you, DarkZack666 for the Twitch Prime sub. The other thing I was going to say about that meat eating is that, oh, Yoga Gear. Thank you very much for the 21 months. Is that just like fish in general is very pervasive in Korea. So it can be kind of hard for like actual vegetarians, the ones that don't eat any meat and no fish, to actually get something that's vegetarian. It's almost, It's actually kind of difficult. Can't you just spend $5 and get much better food? I don't know what you mean by that. Sounds like a lot of kimchi. Well, both kimchi jigae and kimchi itself would make a decent amount of kimchi, but totally common to have that happen. They have good burgers in Korea? I don't know. I don't know if I really have an opinion on burgers, because I never get one of them here. I tried a bulgogi burger once, but that was a big letdown. Do not advise. For drinky drink, I have soju, but I'm also drinking this beer that, for some reason, is sold in Korea. It's a French beer that I can't find back at home. That looks like a ration. I don't know what to tell you because it's in a to-go box. It looks like a ration. I mean, it's not. It's just how they pack things when they deliver things. This mic is just barely annoying enough. Why would you go to Korea and get a burger? Because you have a hankering for a burger? I don't know. They do actually have some burger-specific places in Korea. Still mostly fast food, though. But yeah, you can go to like a more like American restaurants and get actually a pretty good burger. They have some weird burgers. A bulgogi burger is really just the bulgogi sauce on it, which really isn't that weird. But they also have like big monstrosity burgers like America does. Do I like Korean food? If I did it, I'd be having a serious problem. Hey, May May. I just realized I don't have any napkins, so this is gonna get dangerous. Yeah. It took me a little while to figure out exactly what to get for this. You know, tough decisions. Really tough. You know, initially I was gonna use like Yu-Gi-Oh to do it, but then I remembered you need a Korean phone. So I was like entering, like I was like pressing go, and they were like, "Your phone number doesn't work," and I was like, "Bitch." So I had to readjust. And then I found out that Uber Eats actually works in Korea finally. So that was a big plus. What you got here? So this is Bossam, which is boiled pork. Then I got some rice. This rice actually isn't that great. Weirdly enough, that's what they messed up on. Kimchi jigae, kimchi, brine dipping sauce. And then I even have some dumplings and some octopus snack balls. Okay, don't judge. Or is it squid? I think it might be squid. These things are actually delicious and perfect for drinking. So it's a peanut, which makes sense, but then the encasing is like squid flavored. So it's just like a little tiny bit of a squid. And it actually tastes pretty good. Is it the garlic and the sauce you get at BBQ? Yeah. Did I hear garlic? Hell yeah, that's what's right there. So, unfortunately, because I had to get this from takeout, it looks like they didn't really give me a lot of the SAM part of the meal, which is, you know, the boiled pork thing. The boiled pork itself is great, but the real, you know, the real majesty of this dish is that you're supposed to wrap it up in lettuce leaves and then put on a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, and you make a wrapping. But the lettuce leaves they gave me are a little sad. You know, they're supposed to be like really crispy. How many miles away from home am I? You know, funnily enough, there was a sign down at the COEX Mall that tells you how far away you are from Washington, D.C. I think it was like 12,000 kilometers or something like that. Do Ukrainians eat more fish than chicken? Couldn't really tell you for sure. Meat in general is pretty popular. Fish is more of an issue, not because of like literally going out and eating seafood, but because so many of their dishes have like a fish stock in them. They use the anchovies a lot, brine shrimp and all that. So couldn't tell you if like going out to get seafood is really that popular. Certainly around my area, all you ever see people ordering is like the Korean barbecue with a bunch of other of their, you know, workmates. Yeah. Pork does seem to be really popular though. Definitely on board with that. I mean, literally I'm eating like boiled pork, but obviously Korean barbecue pork is really popular. Eating this wrap without like being able to fold it with my own hands is like really difficult. What? Mm-hmm. Convenient. It's the one downside about the sandwich wraps, pork wraps, is that, you know, have you ever tried to eat like sushi and try to have like, take like a half a bite of sushi instead of sticking the whole sushi roll in your mouth? Yeah. No one, like, you try and do that and you look really stupid. So, that's what happens with these sandwich wraps. You can try and have like half of it, but you just look dumber, so you might as well just like shove it all in there. Hey. This is my soju. You should probably like look like not as much like a degenerate and go ahead and get a soju glass, because I do have one. Maybe I can scrounge up some napkins too. That's a nope. No napkins and no soju glass. I thought I had one. I was incorrect. Straight from the bottle. Okay, what is Korean barbecue? What makes it different? Okay. No, it is different. Even though the concept is obviously generally the same, barbecue just being on a type of grill to cook the meat, but not necessarily fry it. Frying would include like oil. So, but with Korean barbecue as opposed to like American barbecue is kind of like reduced down to, if you really mean a barbecue, you either mean like, oh, I'm outside, you know, cooking some things on the barbecue, so it's an item. That could be hamburgers and hot dogs, which isn't actually barbecued like food. And then there's like actual barbecue, which would usually refer to as Texan barbecue, which again is just like a lot of, I guess, technicalities, right? But we have our smoked brisket and our pulled pork. Generally, a lot of things that are like cooked in mass and then cut up in specific ways, but the way that you cook them is kind of what they mean by barbecue. In Korea, Korean barbecue is more generally just different, tinier slabs of meat without much to say or do about it. You know, they don't add like a bunch of herbs and dry rubs and stuff to it. It is just the slab of meat going on the grill with no frying, no oils, and then getting cooked. And they actually even are very specific to drip the fat and stuff down into a little well they have going on. So, but yeah, whenever you hear like blank Korean, like blank barbecue, Korean barbecue, Australian barbecue, Hawaiian barbecue, I mean, it's all just different ways to grill meats, right? Just that Korean barbecue, it's usually just the plain slab of meat. Bulgogi does have bulgogi sauce, and there's like spicy stuff as well as spicy meat. And that's the atmosphere that you're in. So, you know, usually you're in a crowded little hut and you get soju and you get alcohol and you have a bunch of side dishes because it's Korea, and Korea doesn't really work without side dishes. Is the food expensive in Korea? No. In America, you kind of get that thing where they take advantage of, well, I mean, one part they take advantage of what's going on, like, just in America, like how much you should be. So it's one part where you should be charging your prices compared to all the other American restaurants, and then it's also like, hey, we're special, we're unique, we have this special thing, so we're going to charge you a little bit more. In Korea, obviously, it's not really special or unique. You're actually competing with like hundreds of other similar restaurants within a walkable distance. So you actually get a ton of cheap food out here. I'll get the chat on. There we go. Down here, down here, down here, up here. I'm gonna go down here. Maybe up here? Down here. See, up there, I think that's more readable. Only slightly, though. What's up, fam? Well, unfortunately, I can't just put a box of color. Actually, can I change it in Twitch alerts? I haven't touched my chat box in a while. Because I'm pretty sure I can't change it on obs. See if that helps. It might take some time here. Hold on. I swear it's gonna happen. I swear I changed it. Hold on. Hold on. You know, the worst thing about Bossam is, and any pork, is that I have this like wide gap right back here in my teeth. Just wide enough to get food stuck in it. It's great. Super cool. Hey. That didn't change anything. Oh. That's why. I didn't read the fucking fine print here. This background color is only for the preview. That works better, right? I mean, that's better. Oh, chunky. We can go chunky. We can go old school. Oh, we can go. Okay, we're just gonna keep Twitch. Let's take it back. Take everything back. Alright. Paint your wall just real quick. Paint the Airbnb's wall. Yeah. I'm sure he wouldn't get mad at me. By the way, all the smell is coming down here. From everything I got. It's coming together. Huh. It's creating quite the perfume. Alright. Hey Creighton, thank you for the host. I should have gotten people down here, man. Like, shit. Creighton, do you want to come up and just eat on stream with me for the next 5 hours? Hey Kevin. Yep, back from Japan. I've been back for a little while. Japan was a hoot. Ow. This kimchi jigae is actually really spicy. What am I doing, a mokbang again? I know, I probably should do another one before I leave with a couple people. I might organize one for next week. We'll see. Ah, this is actually really spicy. Like, kimchi jigae is supposed to be a little spicy, but this is like stuck like jalapenos in here, man. Ugh.
Hostile forces detected. Arming raid defenses.
Whew. Suppose McDonald's and KFC is available there as well. It is indeed, yeah, thank you. Oh, there's the official raid. There we go. How many times did I say desu? 0. I went full foreigner. I went full tourist. I sometimes said thank you in Japanese. That was it, though. Mokbang is literally like eat room. Is like, I think what the literal translation is. Bong is a room. So here we go, though. So I'm gonna be talking so much, I'm actually not gonna be eating, which, like, maybe that makes me bad. I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure what the correct ratio of the best mukbang streams are. Bring me soju. You gotta come over here, Ragnarok. That's how that works. About to go eat some barbecue in Seoul and it's making me hungry. Vidak, can you just like drop down in my apartment and deliver some more soju? That'd be really cool. Say hi to the stream. You know how to play in PC bongs? I couldn't play without a local phone number. Oh. They might not have just liked you. I had to go to a couple different PC bongs back when I couldn't stream in my room. So I went to like 3 or 4, actually more like 5 or 6, because I also went with friends that wanted to have the experience, and I never got turned away. If they want you to sign up for the pass, like the actual like membership, then I guess they'd want a phone number, but usually you can go there and get a guest pass. And it's just a card that says like, hey, this is my computer and this is how much time I had on it. Either you pre-buy the time so it shuts off after 2 hours, or you are like, I'll pay when I come up and you tell me how much I was there for. So if you were there for 4.5 hours, they'd charge you for that much. I've never heard of anyone needing a Korean phone number. I think they're just being maybe like a tad racist. Korean internet good or just a myth? 90% good. Okay. That's very fatty, Bossam. Hello, Chile fan. Have I gotten hit on? Yes, actually. I have so many stories. Bouncing between stories. Yeah, so apparently where I live, so I live right near Gangnam, but I actually live north of a station called Shinonhyun. So that's like where I live technically. And apparently this place is very well known for its prostitutes. So that's why the nightlife is especially good here. Is it like this neighborhood doesn't really get started until like 8 p.m. and then it goes until about 6 a.m. So I definitely got hit on, and the guy tried to ask me to come home with me. And he was like a 70-year-old guy, like who spoke basically zero English. Yeah. And then, you know, what makes it worse is that I saw him again on that same street and he recognized me, but I literally just like kept walking. I was like, well, that's weird. Mm-hmm. And then I went to a club, which is it's understandable if someone hits somebody in a club. I mean, that makes sense, but people kept asking me like what I was exactly. Like, American wasn't good enough for them. You know, some would ask like, oh, where exactly in America? And that's fine. Other people would be like, oh, but what are you? Like German, Russian? And I'd be like, oh, I'm Russian, just because I'm half Russian, half Irish, and like a mixture of other things, right? But Russian's probably what I look like the most. I don't really look like I'm Irish. So I just usually just am like, oh, I'm, you know, Russian. And they get really impressed. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of a weird reaction. But apparently, like, there's kind of a stereotype that Russian girls are the prostitutes. Mm-hmm. And that's on top of American girls. Well, not even American. That's on top of white girls being thought of as being much easier than Korean girls here. So, good times. I know, Creighton. I learned all about this after I went clubbing. I'm just telling the same story again. I already told you the story on like Sunday. Afreeca Studios, which is where they host StarCraft and StarCraft 2, is yeah, right near Samsung Station. I mean, what's the worst they're gonna do? They're gonna think that I'm more provocative and then I'm not going to be, and then I'm helping a stereotype. Oh, this white girl's Russian, she's gonna sleep with me, and then I'll be like, nah, dog, and I'll be like, oh shit, I need to reevaluate my stereotypes. I'm actually, you know, helping. I think I found a better, easier way to eat this. What if they seduce me? Pretty unlikely. The guys that were hitting on me weren't unattractive, they just weren't my type. As far as my type goes, skinny bean poles is not part of that type. And that's generally the type of Korea. Guys who are skinny. And like, not even that they're like... It's not even like... You know, like, people generally consider muscles good. And that's still true. But, like, seriously, a type in Korea is, like, no muscles, skinny guys who look like K-pop stars. That's totally fair. They're very, very pretty, but it's not my type. Hey, I was already liquored up to even be dancing in that club, so their seduction still didn't work. So one guy coming out of the crane club and he's super skinny and a double take. Yep. Don't get me wrong, there's actually some really... of that type, there's really beautiful people that I wouldn't say no to exactly. And there's also, you know, plenty of other people who don't necessarily want to conform to that specific aesthetic, who I did find attractive. There was one guy in the club who basically fit that, like, 40-year-old creeper stereotype. Yeah. This guy was like, maybe like 5'11", so he was actually kind of tall. And this is important to give him some, like, gravitas or something, I don't know. So he's like 5'11", super skinny, probably in his 40s, but trying to, like, act like he's still in his 20s. And he was dressed nicely and looked nice, but he had a button-down shirt that was unbuttoned down to here. So it showed his, like, weak-ass, like, man chest, the lack of pecs, as it were. And he would go up to people aggressively and just, like, do this thing. Like, if you were my face, he was like... He did that to me, and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And I just, like, walked away. But he did that to a lot of girls. I actually was waiting for my friend to come out of the club, and I just saw him doing it to, like, every girl. And I was like, does that ever work? What? Oh, Maynard. Anyways. So I was gonna talk about the whole bong. I know everyone get your laughter out thing. Because Mokbang is like eat room. So, and this makes a lot of sense when you consider how populated and centralized, like, even Tokyo is, but definitely Seoul is. Like, people just don't have a lot of room. Even if their parents are well off and they're like an only child, they still don't have a lot of room. So, you know, that's also kind of what made PC cafe is so popular is they didn't have their own space and they didn't have their own computer, so they went and, you know, gamed elsewhere. It kind of like permeated through this whole idea though of being able to go to certain rooms and just go there and be like, okay, I'm gonna pay the man $5 an hour, but I'm gonna have my own space for a little while. So Mokbang is like, you know, a stream, but the idea is there. Watching me eat, like, in my room at the very least, while you're in your room. But there's also, like, when I was in Sinchon, I saw, like, I forget exactly what it's called. It was actually something really weird. It was, like, living room, which you guys are like, yeah, like a living room. No. I mean, like, you looked up, and it was literally a nice couch, and a nice lamp, and a nice desk, and that was your room. But it was still spacious and better, probably, than the room you had at home, so you'd go there and study. And PC Bong is also PC Room. There's a couple other rooms that exist. But yeah. There you go. Talking about bongs. Yeah, you're outsourcing rooms. There you go. It also kind of accidentally makes you a little more social, but and karaoke rooms are called noribongs. Song rooms. Music rooms, whichever one. Yeah, whenever you see bang and the what's the word? The romanized attempt to romanize the Korean Hangul. Bang is actually bong, and bap is bop. But then when they try and put an O instead of an A, like in bibimbap, for instance, people just say bibimbop, and you're like, well, you can't win. And that's why, even though, you know, the alphabet we use is actually rather flexible, it just isn't the same as knowing Hangul, or even like, you know, Japanese, kanji, and hiragana. Like, romanization will only get you so far. Karaoke's huge in Korea. Everywhere you go, you're gonna be able to see signs for noribongs. I'm really sad we didn't get to do any karaoke. The karaoke rooms seem less popular? Nah. Still just as popular. Well, there's also this like weird thing that happened to every other country except Korea and Japan, it felt like. Where, you know, someone had this bright idea to sing in front of other people, and they're like, that sounds amazing. What should we call it? Well, the Japanese call it karaoke. Okay, that's what we're gonna do, guys. But get this. We're gonna go ahead and just make you stand in front of an entire crowd of somewhat drunk people that are still sober enough to make fun of you if you're bad, and we're gonna say that's a fun night. Go. Up until, like, I was 21 or something, I had no idea that there was karaoke that didn't include getting up in front of strangers. Like, where did that... Who went wrong in the translation between Japanese and American? I swear. Jesus. They have two barber poles outside of it. It's not really a noribong. Oh, it's also a barber shop? Thanks for the heads up. You work that crowd of drunk hillbillies. I mean, if I'm drunk enough, I probably would do it, but... Hey, Rapid. I got some Bossam and some Kimchi jigae and dumplings. Honestly, the biggest letdown out of this whole thing is the rice. I could've just made my own rice. Cake without humiliation. I know, it actually exists. I don't know where America went wrong. Well, there's many things America got wrong, but that was one of them, it feels like. Do I have 2 big screen TVs in my room? No, just one. I was trying to figure out what you meant. So that's a door. And that's a TV. Have I gone to Gonja Market? I probably did. With like my mom or something. I know what it is vaguely, but I didn't think it was like super interesting. Is Korean rice supposed to be sticky? I don't actually know. SKT1 joined Dota 2. We hope at least for 1 to 2 StarCraft players for China Team League. If those questions are actually related, are you asking if SKT will sign players, StarCraft 2 players, to play in China? If that's the question, then no, I don't think so. Are there any national parks in Korea? Yeah. There's actually a really huge mountain just north of Seoul. And then, I'm sure there's tons of other places I don't really know about all over Seoul. Because, you know, Korea is so... they did it right, in my opinion. Where, like, you know, outside of huge cities, there's actually not much. There are people living outside of huge cities and, you know, decently sized villages and stuff like that, but there's really not too much. So you actually have a lot of nature outside of the cities that I'll just never see. I don't really watch TV. I rewatch series I already watched because it makes me feel good. Are the non-city folk more primitive? I don't think so. I wouldn't know. I will eventually watch The Boys, I think, because I am interested in it. But no. I also want to watch Mindhunter Season 2. And like a couple other things, but I don't know. Like when I get home and I want to sit down and watch TV, I don't really want to... I have to be like in a mood to watch something like as severe as like Mindhunters, for instance, even though it's really good. Usually I just turn on like a sitcom. I'm glad the Bossam's good. I don't know why the rice is so weird. It's not even that it has some multigrain rice in it. Like, I like multigrain rice. It just... I don't know. Something off about it. I had a sweet potato, a Korean yam, for lunch yesterday. That I bought. I don't know, man. I think it was, like, expired. My tumbly was rumbly the whole night and didn't taste very good either, and I was like, seems like a bad decision. I kind of wish I got that pizza I got last year. Pizza here is so weird. But also a surprisingly good combinations. People look at me funny because I'm non-Korean. Often enough, yeah. Occasionally you'll get the cute kid that like actually just legitimately stares at you. They gave me a bag of seaweed as seasoning. I'm guessing for the rice, but I'm not sure. Oh, they also gave me this stuff, which I forgot to see what it is. It looks like it might just be gochujang. No, hold on. Sunsujimi? Sunsujimi? What the fuck is that? Had a pizza that's some pastry on it. Yeah. I think, of the not normal pizzas, I don't like potato on pizza because I don't really like potato. But they do have a sweet sauce that they'll put on it sometimes. But I know like a ton of people just hate the idea of something sweet going on their pizza. That might have been the soju. No, I wasn't drinking soju during lunch eating sweet potato by myself. It can only get so sad. We need a ZombieGrub guest cast. I'm not gonna ever guest cast on GSL. GSL isn't on Saturday. It starts like next Wednesday or something. Pizza's been solved, Korea. It is kind of weird, right? Because like, honestly, sometimes it's hard to find just normal pizza in Korea. They literally have Pizza Hut and Papa John's, I think. And yet, sometimes it can be difficult. I know, Ragnar Cat. My jeans had too much. Oh, it's oil. It's sesame oil. Ah! Wait, what was that supposed to go into? Also the rice? I don't think it would have gone on the Bossam. That's weird. I mean, sesame oil is fucking delicious. It's like way too delicious for its own good. Get off! A pretty common, like, dipping sauce is literally sesame oil and salt. Oh my god, it's so good and so bad for you. Mmm. I can make sure the Tasteless gets mysteriously ill on Saturday. I'm pretty sure I'd still be last on a list of guest casters. I don't like the idea of taking the job away is like always what makes me uneasy about asking. Also, I just suck at asking for things. I think that's kind of a thing. So but yeah, it would be cool to do like one GSL commentary cast, but also, side note, I didn't bring anything fancy to wear. Actually, I take that back, I did. I didn't bring any jeans, though. Because on the off chance I was commentating, you wouldn't see my pants. So I didn't need to bring pants. But that doesn't mean that... Like, when I went to the club, for instance, I had to borrow some friends' clothes. So... Blizzard schedule says 25th of August. Are you sure that's not ASL? That sounds like the date of the ASL 3rd, 4th place match. Oh, I know, the GSL commentators, everyone wears shorts because you don't see their bottom half. That's why I didn't bother bringing it, because that's the only situation I really saw myself needing a dress shirt. But I also didn't have anything to wear to the club or anything else fancy I might do. Instead of asking, you just tell them, hey, I'm gonna be filling in for you guys this day. Alright, see ya. How does it work when pros come up and cast one series? Usually they only do that because they're asked by production, because they're in desperate need to give a caster a break. Like, I assume you're talking about Aces Rog. WCS Winter was kind of a different story because Lambo and a Laser actually asked to come up and talk about stuff. It just doesn't usually happen. It just doesn't. Just borrow the old guy's shirt, he's barely using it. Throwback. Hold on, Yogi here. Try and help. Oh, wait. Well, you're not reading it wrong. It definitely says GSL Code S on Sunday. But I could have sworn that ASL is happening Sunday. So that might just be Blizzard not updating the schedule. I don't know. I enjoyed the club. Like, I wouldn't mind going back. I know a lot of people were like, oh, like, my clubbing days are over, you know? Like, I'm kind of over clubbing. And I'm like, I get that. I just never had it. Like, literally, my first time to the club was on Saturday or Friday. Hey, Borsty. Yeah, I wouldn't go with the GSL. The WCS site, unfortunately. As tough as that is to say, it's because they don't ever have to list the dates of anything Brood War on there. That's one of the problems. But obviously, since you could never have conflicting times, and you really can't have conflicting days for both ASL and GSL, I think that's what often leads to hiccups in fixing the schedule, because they just don't usually have to... Since they don't have to write it on the schedule that Brood War is happening, they just forget to change that StarCraft 2 isn't happening. How was Call of Azeroth last night? Boristy, about like 2.5 hours in. I don't remember exactly when, but the dumbest shit's gonna happen. It was so fucking hilarious. See ya, Creighton. Yeah. Pretty full. The worst part about mukbangs is getting rid of the food. Because Korea has like a very specific way to get rid of food. In containers and stuff. Always the worst part about it. Now what's extra awkward is that the guy never gave me any food disposal bags. So, yeah, every other place I've been to in Korea and Japan, they're like, hey, we have very specific ways to recycle things and dispose of things, so please do not mess it up. And you're like, okay, I'll figure it out. But for some reason at this place, they like literally have a big marked zone that they wrote in Korean and English. It says dumping zone. And the guy only gave me like black plastic bags. And people just like dump their trash like they're in America there. No changing. No being specific about what goes where. So I don't really know what they're doing. Part of me believes that someone is like going out there and like looking through the trash and actually filtering it. I think, here's my suspicion about what goes on in this Airbnb, is that this apartment is actually like an Airbnb apartment. Because when I got here, there was like 2 other English speakers behind me. And when I went into the apartment, I heard them go like, oh, I told you. So I guess they were like, oh yeah, she's probably going to the apartment we are. And they did. And then I've seen other foreigners here, and other people with like, you know, luggage. And I'm like, okay, so this is just like a place. Every room's rented out to Airbnb, which is a thing. It makes the fact that it's kind of a crappy Airbnb like a lot worse. But so that, I guess, is a thing. And that they very much appeal to foreigners. So they're like, look, foreigners are never going to get how to dispose of trash correctly, okay? And if they get it, they don't want to do it. And they're not exactly wrong. So we're just going to go ahead and let this nice little old Korean lady who owns this building, we're just going to let her filter through all the trash. Because the problem is, it's not just like, oh, you're damaging the planet. Don't do that. Like, you actually will get in trouble if the trash isn't organized correctly when you dump it. So, that's my little conspiracy there. Some old people look at the trash out of spite and then come and find you and are like, hey, did this wrong? The other sad thing that happens is that if you leave, like, especially recyclables, like, you know, beer cans and soju bottles out in the streets, old Korean women and men, but a lot of times old Korean women will come around and take them, and they actually recycle them for money. And that's just like homeless older Korean people who often hang out in front of the subway train station, the Seoul station. Would I book an Airbnb if it was listed as haunted? I'd have to ask why it's haunted. If they were like, yeah, someone died here and we think their ghosts, you know, plagues the apartment, I'd be like... If they were like, yeah, someone died here and ever since then we've had a murder every month, or ever since then stuff just randomly crashes, or ever since then people will randomly get sick and their heads will turn around, I'd be like, no thank you. It'd also have to depend on how good the other perks are. Like, what if it's haunted, but it has like 1,000 internet, you know? I witnessed an old person literally in the middle of the street forcing a car to go around her. Like, she knew the car was there. It slowed down, but it didn't want to honk at her. So it just kind of like tried to make its way around her. You know, it is a pretty narrow street, and you're like, okay. So Borsty, I think technically America has that too. I mean, it used to be kind of like a thing that like kids would find recyclables and then get like, you know, $2 worth and go and buy their gummy candy or whatever it was back in the 50s. But even though it's still something that you can get money back from, it's not really talked about as much. I think on our cans and bottles, it like literally has some place where it says like you can get 25 cents back for this or something. But it's just a lot more, I guess, pervasive. Thank you for the 750 bits, Videk. Going to Korean barbecue now on Gangnam. Here's soju on me. Have fun, dude. Thank you for the soju. Yeah, I think it's just a lot more apparent in Korea. And like, kind of like to a weird detriment because people are a lot more comfortable just leaving trash around if it's a recyclable, like, which I feel very uncomfortable with. At the same time that I, you know, find their recycling and disposal system very obnoxious, I also like understand and respect it. I cannot just be like, oh, you know that beer? I don't see a trash can around here. Okay, just leave it. Like I've been told to do that, and I was like, I'll just hold it. I'm good. Yeah, Japan and Korea have the same thing where there's like no trash cans around. I get full so quickly. I'm such a bad eater, streamer person. And I tried to be as hungry as possible for this too. It really is a skill, guys. It really is. I think I just didn't actually want that particular meal. Like, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I just wish I had gotten, like, like cold buckwheat noodle or something. It happens. Eat slower? I was eating pretty slow. I think the problem is actually eating too slow. The slower you eat, the more more time your body has to be like, oh, hold up. No, we're full. I had boiled pork and kimchi soup and rice. There you go. It's pungent. I figured Borsty knew enough Korean to know that kimchi was fermented cabbage. I might finish off these dumplings. I'm gonna be sick with all that kimchi? No, I barely had any. Yeah, and kimchi is supposed to be very, very healthy. Yeah, cold buckwheat noodles are... It's one of those dishes that's supposed to be hard to get wrong, at least in Korea. You should have KFC. Isn't the other thing mashed potatoes? I don't like mashed potatoes. I don't like potatoes. Musaka. You know what I've really appreciated? There's two things I've really appreciated about America when I travel. One, grocery stores have everything in America. Anywhere else in the world, if you want to pick up like your grocery store, your shopping list worth of things, you have to go to all different types of stores. And then because you also go to like the fresh markets and buy fresh food and stuff every day. And it's like pshaw. But in America, you go to one grocery store and it basically has like everything. So that's the good thing. The second thing, garbage disposals. Garbage disposals are the best thing ever. And if you're gonna tell me that it's like the worst thing for the environment, it's worse than flying a jet plane for no reason from Korea to America, I'm gonna be like, it's kind of worth it, guys. Garbage disposals are so good. And ovens being common is very helpful. Or in Korea, I don't think I've ever had a oven. No, definitely not. My favorite book. Well, the books closest to my heart are the Bulgariad series. But I really like Stormlight Archives. My favorite TV show? I don't know. I don't think I have a favorite TV show. My favorite film? It's a toss-up between a couple. I don't think my Japan Airbnb had an oven either. One thing is that like there's not a lot of room for an oven in most Korean places. I'm sure they exist, especially the more modern places. I'm sure they have ovens, but it's just not something that they really consider to be important here. Where I think, especially for Americans, like, you think about all the stereotypical cookbooks for Americans, and it all has to do with, like, pot roast and shit. So ovens are, like, incredibly important. And clearly the restaurants will have ovens occasionally. Like, their pizza is probably still baked in an oven, but it's just not super common in apartments. Neither are, dryers. It's not washers and dryers, it's just washers here. It is not the Shawshank Redemption, it's not the Princess Bride. I actually haven't really watched the Shawshank Redemption. My favorite movies include Interstellar, My Sassy Girl, Paprika, Tokyo Godfathers. Yeah. My Sassy Girl is an amazing movie, despite its many flaws. How was it to meet literal god of StarCraft. I met him before. I took a picture with him years ago. So meeting him is pretty okay. His head really is quite big. But he was very nice. He had a fangirl that was standing over him while he was signing stuff and taking pictures that held up a fan right to his neck. That was a little creepy. Granted, I assume it was a fan. Maybe it was his girlfriend, but I really don't think it was. I think it was a fan holding a fan. But I think he signed my card and then he actually looked at it and then he said something to the girl and the girl said something back and he handed it to me. So I think he said something about my card because otherwise he was just signing posters. Where did that come from? So apparently in Korea to have a big head is like seen as like a pretty bad trait. And then Flash in particular has a bit of a soft spot that his head is kind of large. So for instance, they'll have like common mascots, you know, like when people dress up as a mascot, the head is always like laughably large, like a bobblehead. Apparently he doesn't like that. He's actually very self-conscious about his head. What sassy am I talking about? As if I would be talking about the American one, alright? The American one wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but there's no way I would ever say the American one. There's no way anyone would say the American one. So this says scratch off, but is it though? Well, this just is a lie. This is not a scratch off. Koreans don't know how to do scratch offs. This literally says scratch off, and it just won't come off. I guess I won't get my free side dish of rice or whatever the fuck it is. Alright. You keep your secrets. I'm gonna eat my squid balls. That's right, that's what I said. You heard me. You didn't scratch in Korean. I'm not sure what that really means. No. Not sure what to say to that. Give squid balls. We should do a mukbang together, Rapid. I was told to watch my Sash Girl. I didn't know they meant the Korean one. Ugh. It is... at this point, it's an old film. And the American one literally wasn't even released in theaters. So I think the default assumption is that you won't even be able to find the American one. So I kind of understand what they were coming from. These are squid balls. You can kind of like rattle them too. Food is alright. I should have gone with some safer options. Although, in my defense, somehow they screwed up rice. So, Rice and egg is usually delicious, but I didn't think it was. Your delivery was great. Food was not great. I'm so happy Uber Eats exists here, though. Oh my god. Thank Jesus. Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't... It needs a Korean phone number. And then Shuttle, which is an a thing to appeal to people who don't speak Korean in Korea. I was like, what? Is like really expensive in this area. I don't know. Like you'll get like 8 restaurants that have a delivery fee under $6, and then the rest of them will have a delivery fee of over $20. And I'm like, what? Do they have any weird brand loyalty for anything in particular? Not really. No. No. No brand loyalty, no. Alicia Cuthbert. I will say the American My Sassy Girl, she was attractive. She was cute. I did like her in that part, but the overall movie wasn't that great. Who the fuck uses that service? I don't know, man. So Uber Eats actually having, like, understandable delivery fees? Yes, please. Thank you. I'm actually scrolling through it now, seeing if anything gets my stomach all happy. Now pick fresh. I have the option of buying fruit. I can get 500 grams of watermelon for $6.50. That seems a little expensive. I can get 2 apples for $8. Not Creative Beast, the woman is actually really cool. Just overall, the dialogue and pacing and direction of the movie was quite bad. Well, Pajami, for me, it's like to go into a restaurant and have the complication of asking if they have takeout or not is already pretty nerve-wracking. So Uber Eats is especially good when you don't speak the language of an area. That's what I survived on when I was in Paris. That actually had less to do with not speaking the language. And more just actually finding it to be the cheaper option. Restaurants in Paris can be pretty expensive. Almost everyone spoke English in Paris. I've gone to Paris 3 times. Once as a total tourist. Went to all the touristy locations. And the amount of English that was spoken to us, I think, was pretty good in the touristy locations. But for when I was just like living there for like 2 or a month or whatever it was, I don't think they care to try and speak English to me. See, the real secret to these things is that peanuts are good. That's the secret. What is the closest non-English country to England? Because I don't think proximity to English-speaking countries really has anything to do with anything. Well, I can't say that. But it's not that much of an effect. I don't think France is the closest. Really? Wow. Oh, that does make sense. Okay. Yep, that was on me. I imagined the UK to be more north than it was, and for Brussels and Amsterdam to curve around it more. I thought they might be the closest, like the Netherlands, but nope. Yep, France definitely the closest. Fried chicken in Korea is pretty dope. But I'm not like so excited about fried chicken as other people are. I do like myself some cheese fried chicken. But to be honest, for GSO vs. the World, we went to a fried chicken place like after every night to hang out. I was very quickly over that. France closest to England. And it's so weird. I'm usually very like, I feel really bad when I'm eating on stream. Try not to make any noise. But that's like kind of the whole point. And one of the points of mukbangs is to have it in your face that I'm eating something. Do you like Korean barbecue? Very few people don't like Korean barbecue. But like, obviously, as someone who loves Korea and visits every year, you'd think I would like Korean barbecue at least a little bit. Wait, cheese fried chicken? Oh, it's actually very simple. So you fry the chicken, and it's like a normal, not spicy, not really anything batter. And then you just sprinkle shredded cheese on top. And you're like, does it really make it that good? It does. It really does. You know how, like, Americans, I guess, are kind of made fun of for our basic bitch approach to cheese? And whether we, you know, how much stuff we put cheese on? Korea is also kind of a basic bitch about it. But to even more things. Right? They will go literally American sliced, Kraft sliced cheese. And they'll put it on their army stew.
Captain, we are being hosted.
Thank you, JW, for the 7 viewer host. They'll put it on their ramen. Cheese ramen, very popular. They'll put it on their chicken and be like, yeah, deal with it. And Americans who put like cheese on many other things and copious amount of cheese on many other things sit here and we're like, that's gross. Ew. Just like cultures, am I right, guys? Just like cultures. How we develop to like think like something is gross, but this other thing isn't. Try making sometime then. You really should. Or it's like it's rice cake, it's spicy rice cakes, like slap some cheese on it. Stuff is kind of plastic. Oh, but that's the point. We've been biologically evolved to be repulsed by cheese on noodles? Hold up. Hold up. Clearly we don't mind cheese on noodles. Otherwise, like, Italia would be out of business as a country. Cheese on ramen, yeah, but also as Americans, like, we think of ramen as a last resort. By the way, when I say cheese on ramen, I guess that's the other thing, is like, there's Japanese ramen, which is actually like some cheap yet classy shit. And then there's Korean ramen and American ramen, which is very much the same, like instant ramen. And I don't think I would like cheese on like Japanese ramen. I could be wrong though. Learned many things. But cheese on my rice, what have I hosted into here? I was talking about how like, for some reason Americans will put cheese on a lot of different shit. And other countries will be like, America, you're kind of weird about that. And we'll be like, whatever, dog. And then we go to Korea and we see them put cheese on top of like instant ramen or on top of chicken, fried chicken, and then we're like, that's gross. Good night, Ragnar Cat. I was thinking cheese on ramen that's already brothed. It's a weird way to verbalize that. Wait. What do you mean? Cheddar cheese and apple pie. Apparently an amazing combination. I've never tried it. Me a chicken sandwich has cheese on it. Does it? I actually don't know. I don't eat chicken sandwiches. But I was saying how like when you there's a fried chicken in Korea that they like shred yellow cheese on and it's delicious. It adds just a little bit of something. It's really good. And then it kind of like it like melts like a little bit, so it's like a little stringy. You cheese yourself, it's all good. If someone else cheeses, you should go to hell. America knows best what to put cheese on. Watermelon and feta cheese. That is a new one. I have not heard of that. But it's a good point. It's a good point. To like hone in like a little bit farther on this idea. Americans literally came up with the idea for Spam. Spam is our thing. You know, they're like, oh, apple pie is not your thing, that's German. Or Dutch or whatever it is, I guess. And or like hot dogs are actually just a poor man's, like, you know, Wiener from Germany, and like all this other stuff, right? We actually invented Spam, thank you very much. That's ours. So, nice people that we are, we give all these, like, South Koreans rations, and we gave them, like, hot dogs and Spam and American cheese, and we're like, you're welcome. And those bitches have the audacity to go ahead and actually make a meal out of that is still eaten today. And now Americans are like, whoa, whoa, no. We were just giving you those things because we didn't want them. You can't do that. You can't like it. Do they have night food markets in Korea? Yeah. There's some streets that are very popular for food in the middle of the night. Hawaii's like, my brother, you get it. Yeah. But that is also have a lot to do with America. If Hawaii is still, you know, seen as something that just kind of accepts that they were forced to be a part of America, mainland America still should be blamed for Spam. Or thanked for Spam, depending on how you look at it. But Spam and Korea are both like, oh, thank you. I guess we'll use it and we'll like it. And America was like, what? What? We don't even like it. That's weird. Place live in Japan claims to have invented the burrito bowl. Well, burrito bowl in general is definitely a bastardization of Mexican food, right? I don't know anybody in Korea. That's too bad. Like, Korea is still an amazing country to visit, even if you don't know people. But definitely knowing someone in Korea makes it a lot more fun because you have someone to go out drinking with. In America, and Korea is definitely a drinking culture, but I still think you would have had fun. Oh, I think musubi is super good. But it is kind of funny how Hawaii... Like, I don't know much about Hawaii and Hawaiian food as far as, like, traditional. There we go. Traditional Hawaiian food. I just know what has happened to Hawaiian food in the last 70 years. And now it's like this weird thing where Hawaii is probably the worst offender of the, wow, that doesn't seem healthy dishes, surprisingly enough. I think Hawaii actually has one of the highest obesity rates, unfortunately. Because it went from, I guess, being a place where very active people would eat a lot of food to very, like, inactive people would still eat a lot of food. Bunch of Swiss people were crazy about Spam. Weird ass Swiss people. I mean, I like Spam in the Korean food I find it in, like, occasionally. I like budae jigae, but I don't really like it in kimchi or kimbap that often, but yeah, okay, sometimes, but I'd never buy that stuff in America. Have you ever had Steakums? You mean the grocery store cheesesteak stuff? Pretty sure my mom buys it all the time. But going to Korea will be fun as a non-drinker. I think so, yeah. Like, obviously it's great to meet your friends and go out drinking till like 7 in the morning. But if you like don't drink at all for whatever reason, I still think you'd have fun. Like, it's more the idea that you are allowed to go and have fun with your friends for an extended period of time. Because places are actually open at 4 in the morning because it's super accessible to actually get to your friends. But even if you don't have friends, you don't drink and you don't have any friends in Korea, I still think it's a great place. It's still a cheap place to visit. The food is amazing, and it's very different than most of the food that you'll ever see or eat, because Korean food still hasn't like really ingrained itself in popular culture. There's still a lot of really cool museums and places to see. And it's a city, so it's just fun to explore. Yeah, Hawaiian food's one of those things that I wish I had more of. But, like, literally, there's no Hawaiian place where I live. I have to go, like, into DC for, like, the one Hawaiian restaurant. And even then, it's probably not legit Hawaiian. So when I was in Burbank casting, there was a Hawaiian place. It was a fast food Hawaiian place. So it wasn't, yeah, it's not like I was getting, like, the traditional dishes there. But I did have the ability to try musubi, which I thought was really great. And then I also tried Loco Moco, is that what it's called? Which, that's when I was like, oh, that's why people kind of make fun of Hawaiian food sometimes. Because it was just like, if I told you this without saying it was Hawaiian, you'd be like, typical Americans and their gross-ass food. This is apparently Hawaiian development. Loco Moco is a bed of rice with 2 fried eggs, 2 hamburger steaks, and gravy labeled on, not labeled. Ladled, there we go, ladled on it. It's fucking delicious. But, yeah, you're just like, well, that's all your calories for the week in that one meal. My mom's a legend for getting steakums. Really? It's like fake steak, the same way Spam is fake ham. I thought it was a brand name. I did not know that. See ya, Borsty. What is Korea like outside of Seoul? I've only been to major cities. I've been to Seoul and Daegu and Busan. Seoul's the most city-like. Daegu and Busan are like... Daegu actually is maybe even still more city-like than Busan. Busan, I went to the very tip of Busan. And that was kind of cool to walk along the beach, but... Actually, I wasn't impressed with Busan that much. But otherwise, I can't really tell you. Technically, I've been to the very tip of the south of Korea and the very border, the north border of Korea. Because I did go to the DMZ. It is the equivalent of country breakfast, yeah, that's true. When I was in Disneyland this past year, we went to the restaurant for dinner. We were all hungry after walking a fuck ton. And we went there because they had a vegan option for Fear Dragon, but also it was just like kind of convenient. And I look on the menu and I see this like thing that's I mean, yeah, it was basically like Loco Moco, but it was eggs and meat, but no rice. And I was like, you know, usually I don't think I'd really like this, but I actually kind of really want it. And yeah, it was fucking delicious. Chicken fried steak with biscuits and gravy with eggs. It's just like, oh my god, I almost got a second one. And I was like near bursting at the end of the first meal. I was like, guys, that actually was the most delicious thing I've ever eaten. I might get a second one. What's Itaewon like? I mean, it kind of looks like the rest of Seoul. Less high-rise, like less skyscrapers, I guess, but a lot more English signs. More hilly, which is really annoying. I don't know. I've never lived in Itaewon. I've only ever visited because I was visiting. I think I also went there to a bar once. That was about it. Is Itaewon a good place to stay for it's your first time? No, actually, I would say not, but I couldn't really tell you. I went to Korea knowing a decent bit of Korean, at least how to read Hangul. So I wasn't really intimidated by the idea that people wouldn't speak English. If people are afraid, then maybe Itaewon is better, because they'll have more English speakers, but... I actually would not suggest staying in Itaewon. It's kind of a... I don't know what to say without being offensive, I guess. It's not that interesting, and it's like maybe like dirtier than other cities in Seoul, and as I said, like more hilly, so it's more obnoxious to get around, and it's not on a main subway line. So no, I wouldn't suggest it. Finally good kimchi yet? Oh yeah. I've also found some bad kimchi. Places that I think first timers should live in would be like... I think like Hongdae or Sinchon's really nice to stay in, because you feel like you're a part of the city and a part of the nightlife and stuff, and it can just be really fun. And it's on a the main subway line. Gangnam is, it's overrated because of the Gangnam Style song, but it also is a nice place to stay, and it's right near the Afreeca studio if you're going here for StarCraft. And there's like easy shopping, and it is like foreigner accessible. And it's also on the main line is like the green line in Korea, in Seoul. So those are the two places I would suggest. Yeah. Good night, hot brushings. I'd like to try authentic kimchi. You've probably tried authentic kimchi. Korean food is just not really so popular yet that you're getting a lot of knockoffs. It's starting to get there. Suddenly everything is gochujang, and you're like, oh no, that's not. Oh my god, stop it. But I'm guessing if you've been to a Korean place and had kimchi, it's probably what you're gonna find a lot of in Korea. America's full of itself, and you do high-speed rail. Yeah. It's easy to be full of yourself when it's home, right? And I'm sure there's Americans who come to Korea or Japan or Singapore or wherever, and they're like, I want my car. I want to be able to drive wherever I want. I don't like how many people are here. Why is the food so different? It upsets my tummy. And as much as we want to judge those people, it's like, it's valid. I want to be able to go to my one grocery store that's the size of this neighborhood and get anything I want. Also, I want garbage disposals. I made a misspelling on their tweet. Everyone point and laugh at them.
Resubscription received. Apparently you are doing something right, Captain.
Hello, Bali. Thank you for the 22 months. Good morning. I have not been to the countryside at all. And I want ice in my drinks. Yeah, I guess it's not something I've really noticed, but you're right. I don't get ice in my drinks. And in Europe, you don't get free water. You guys were so weird about that. You get free water if you specifically ask for tap water. Okay, alright, just calm down. In Korea, they just put the water out there and you go get it. And it's free and it's cold and it tastes good. And if you ask them for bottled water, they just be like, you don't want, there's water right there. It comes with the restaurant. Stupid Europe. Dryers are kind of amazing sometimes, JW. Dryers aren't even amazing because they dry clothes in under an hour. That's obviously the biggest benefit of them. But the other thing that I learned when I came to Korea for an extended period of time is that if you don't dry your clothes with a dryer sheet, you know, the sheet fabric softener, if you just let them hang dry and you didn't put softener in the washing machine, you're gonna have a bad time. And I just, there's something about that I really don't like. The texture of clothing isn't the same because you weren't brought up knowing how much of this or that to use or what settings to use on these stupid washing machines that have so many different buttons. The washing machine I have right now doesn't even work unless it's hot water. You know what I got in the habit of back at home is washing everything in cold water. Because there's actually really like not many reasons not to. But it stops my clothes from bleeding its colors. And doesn't make my clothes shrink either. Hello. There's so many tiny things, you know? Another thing about Korea, in particular, is that their beds are almost always very hard. So beds are still, like, not completely necessary. You know, they're still gonna find a decent amount of people who sleep on the, what are those things called? Like sleeping bags. They look like sleeping bags. You'll still find that a decent amount. So I guess they took that to heart and they're like, well, we'll just make our mattresses really fucking hard. So I was afraid, I couldn't remember if Tokyo was like that or not. When I was like, I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I stayed in an Airbnb the last time I was in Tokyo for like 2 nights, and I remember being pretty happy with the bed, but I also was like so tired, I didn't really care. And then this past week, the bed was like a cloud. Oh, and the covers were nice and thick. Thick. Whereas this is that's one blanket right there, okay, on a hard ass bed, and it feels like nothing. And the reason that my bed is especially unmade in Korea is not because I'm lazier necessarily. It's because this cover doesn't actually cover the entire bed. So back at home, if I roll around a little in bed, all I gotta do is wake up and toss a corner over and it's still Gucci. Here, if I toss around even a little bit, suddenly the whole thing has been just like swished over and I'm a burrito. Just tiny things that you're just like, oh man, that's why you miss home so much. I'm 6'3". That would be pretty bad in most Asian countries. The covers in Japan were extra thick. They were like kind of almost weighted. Like I understood why people like weighted blankets when I was in that Airbnb. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. And then I fell asleep like a baby. That really sucks, JW. Luckily, as a woman, I'm usually a lot like safer. I'm usually hitting the average size of people in any country. But for guys who are even a little bit tall, I gotta imagine it's annoying. How hot does Korea get? Up to like 95 Fahrenheit. With some pretty high humidity as well. They actually send you text messages and have people outside scream at you to be careful. Yeah, text messages will be like, extremely high heat, high humidity. If you walk outside, make sure to carry a bottle of water. Which I find kind of funny. Like, if I had that happen in Virginia, I'd be like, holy shit, like how hot is it out there? Is it 110 degrees Fahrenheit? Is the earth just on fire? But here they take it very seriously. I am 5'5". I am perfectly average. Have you guys been watching The International? I really wish I could get excited about Dota. Like, before I went live today, there was this, like, really sick match, I guess, or, like, a comeback kind of happened. And the casters are going fucking insane. Like, this guy is actually a really good hype caster. And, I was just like, I don't understand. It sounds really exciting, but I don't really get it. You always thought of me as 5'8" and above. I don't want to tell you. People generally think incorrectly about height when it comes to seeing people on and off camera. Especially because you might be comparing us to tall-looking people like Roddy, who actually is tall. Because we're standing on a box. But even the first time I met Roddy, I was like, holy god, like that guy's a giant. I did not think he was this tall. I met him for the first time technically as a fan, like in 2011. How tall is he? I'm not sure how tall he is. I just know that, especially for the first time seeing him, after seeing him entirely online in front of cameras, it's a very big difference. I don't think he's 6'4". I mean, he could be right. I was gonna guess 6'2" though, so I mean, yeah, not that far off. I'm not sure. Todd might be taller, but Todd also stands upright. So it makes him look taller. Like, Todd has some pretty good posture, where Roddy's, like, always casual. And then if you see him on the street, if he's just, like, outside taking a smoke break or something, he'll actually be, like, super just, like, not, like, hunched over, but he'll be, like, you know, very casual, and he'll have his, like, feet spread apart. So it'll make him look shorter than he is. But still pretty fucking tall. Oh, Roddy literally was like he's the worst in France because he never like wanted to or remembered to go and buy like a pack of smokes. I think that was the problem, is they never remembered to, because the schedule is so weird and different. So I'd always see him like asking people to like bum a smoke, And I literally told him at one point, I was like, Roddy, I feel like I should just buy a pack of smokes, even though I don't smoke, and just like charge you like €1 per cigarette. And I was kidding, and he was like, actually, Jess, that's a very good business idea. I was like, well, shit. I never did, but I also never remembered to buy a pack of cigarettes. Fortunately, a lot of people in Paris and France still smoke, so you really didn't have any trouble finding cigarettes. Just like a lot of people in Korea still smoke. I think they're trying to cut down on it, though. In Japan, like, they just kind of, like... I don't want to say they successfully abolished smoking in Japan, but... they would have, like, little tiny, like, rooms set up that are like, here you can smoke in public. And, you know, it's not really smoking in public. You have to go into a little, like, room with transparent walls and smoke there. And that's the only way you can smoke outside. And I was like, this seems really annoying. I wouldn't want to be a smoker in Japan. I don't remember seeing anyone smoking in Tokyo. In restaurants. Or, like, in front of me. I was never caught behind a smoker. Or in Korea, that still happens pretty regularly. Like, once upon a time in America, you could go to a restaurant and be asked non-smoking or smoking. It's so amazing. If actually, like, there's one thing I can say we did a pretty good job on as a society, as like the human race, is that we really are cracking down on smoking. That somehow has actually been a successful endeavor. And they banned smoking in bars in college. Why would I go to a bar? Ugh. I mean, just the idea of being addicted to something is always a little scary, right? And then to be addicted to something that literally is like, I could get the craving and I could be in the wrong place and have to walk like, 15 minutes to get someplace I could smoke. That would be annoying enough. I actually kind of get why people start. Like, everyone get their laughs at. But an oral fixation is actually kind of like a thing. Kind of like a big thing, too. But the idea that you're, like, doing something, people start off by being social, almost like social drinking, but then, nicotine actually makes you, like, literally addicted pretty quickly. And then just the habit of it, like having your morning coffee, suddenly you're having your morning cigarette. And then having something to do with your hands and your mouth when there's like nothing else to do. I mean, I can definitely see it. Occasionally I think about like, whenever I get like a food craving, because like smokers, sometimes people will like start smoking and lose weight and they'll stop smoking and gain weight. I've actually thought about like, if I just did something with my hands and just had something like in my mouth, like maybe I wouldn't feel the need to eat. So, obviously chewing gum can also be something you can do for that. Hello. Some people only smoke when they drink, get the habit from that. Yeah. I've had... Guys, don't tell my mom, okay? Don't tell my mom. I've had 2 cigarettes. Don't at my mom, alright? And both times it was because it was like outside just catching some air after drinking. I don't know if it's that bad, JW. It was Roddy's fault? No, it wasn't. I don't think Roddy's ever offered me a cigarette. I think when we first met, he might have asked me, like, do I smoke? And I said no, and then that was kind of it. You know, like in Japan, they gave non-smokers an extra, like, 20-minute break or something like that. Because smokers would just, you know, they would have a legitimate reason to go out and take a 5-minute break to get a smoke and then come back. I actually thought that was very astute of them. And it's just odd that, you know, Japan would be the place to do that out of all the places. And I think the TI setup is a little weird. So apparently they have an analyst desk, and then they also, like, I saw them talking with Red Eye on the analyst desk, and then they were like, okay, we're gonna go into the game. Here's blank and blank and blank. And I was like, oh, 3 people? Okay, hold on here. And it went to another table with 3 people instead of 4, and they kept on talking about the picks and bans, and then it went to the 2 commentators. I thought that was really odd. Hello, Mr. Murdoch. Analyst task, mini analyst task. That's what happens when you have a bajillion dollars. Yeah, but apparently it's funny listening to the different esports scenes, right? And how people make money. So apparently in Dota, you just like don't make much money as a player and as a commentator, except for the international. Where obviously the players can win millions of dollars at this point for not even placing like super, super high. And the commentators also get paid the most because it's also like a 10-day event. And there's all the qualifiers and stuff they get paid to do as well. But aside from that, apparently it's not that, you know, extremely well paying. And then you have Overwatch, which is obviously like a set salary system. And you have StarCraft, where we get paid nothing and then more nothing. Just kidding. CSGO apparently is like the place to like burn yourself out and make tons of money and then escape while you still have your sanity. That's how it was described to me once. League of Legends is like, you don't get paid very well, but you know you have a consistent gig, but you hate your job or something like that. Like listening to all these people talk, like describe your workplace in one sentence is actually kind of, is interesting. And then I think well, as much as I made a joke about StarCraft commentators not making much money, I think fighting games are much worse, right? Fighting games, except for 1 or 2 like big events, don't really get paid very much at all. And even those big events apparently aren't very well paying because you're sharing the event with like 30 other commentators. Hearthstone is like you play Hearthstone and that's it. I didn't talk about the Hearthstone casters and how they get paid. I think World of Warcraft is like you either are like the very few commentators on the main league, or you're no one, which is kind of sad. Like there's a company that you know works all of the main league for World of Warcraft. And if you're not a part of that company, then you're just kind of like, there's no other World of Warcraft events happening outside of the main Blizzard League. That's what I've heard. That's what I've gathered. Is Fortnite still the most popular streaming game? I think so. Yeah, I've seen some fighting games tournaments. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't sound like they're paid very much ever. And there's just so many of them. people do in GTA? Don't they roleplay? I never got that. I was that old person like sitting on the sidelines being like, and this is like I actually forum roleplayed when I was younger, but I could not understand what was great about watching someone roleplay in these games. Oh, Battle, you gotta give the deets. How much money did you spend? Wait, what? Explain. Explain GTA roleplay? Hey, Uba. I don't know how much more I can explain it. You literally roleplay. You can like choose to be a cop, for instance, and then roleplay being a cop to the person who's roleplaying being a prostitute. While streaming. Like your advancement level wise is just like not important. You're just literally in there to play a part. So, you know, you also get those people who come in who are like, we're all role playing, and they do like really stupid shit and break character and make stupid scenarios, and you have to explain to them that like, oh, it's not fun when you don't role play. No one commentates GTA 5. Someone just brought up GTA while I was talking about commentators. Completely different subject. But I do know there's a couple of very popular streamers who do nothing but roleplay, and they make a decent bit of cash. That's what we're talking about. I also know that apparently Minecraft is like the next big thing again. People get crazy when their favorite streamer plays Minecraft. That's the funny thing though, it was already huge once. But now apparently Minecraft has a ton of new shit since I've played it 9 years ago. Hey Radio Res. Minecraft is kind of insane because like it actually is a very good thing for, like, not even just young people to learn. Like, literally the idea of mixing and crafting and building with blocks is, like, extremely helpful in, like, your development if you're young, but also in keeping your mind sharp as you grow older. Like, as a game to be proud of, I suppose. Like... And not just be like, oh, you're playing that mindless video game again? Get off of your Nintendo. Like, apparently Minecraft is pretty good. It's like, they use Minecraft to teach young kids how to program. Which is just really cool. And also like, oh, okay. I haven't gotten into auto chess. I don't know anything about auto chess. Make a Minecraft server? I don't play Minecraft though. I played like literally twice. Not including the times I had to learn how to make a server in Minecraft. It was such a trip. But I played it once to get used to it, and then I played it a second time with a friend, and we dug underneath some guy's house and flooded it accidentally. It was fun. That's the last time I played it. I've been watching Korean girls eat a thing. Not just Korean girls. Korean guys also do it. But it's definitely most popular to watch Korean girls do it. Let the subs have it and then come check it out. Could be fun. Sabotage everything you guys designed. Is Minecraft still free? I thought it cost like $10. I didn't think it was free. I vaguely recall having to input my license code or whatever. Now it's $30. Oh, excuse me. I'm not Rockefeller. Dude, Dendy is such a odd character on the stream. We're just talking. I'm not gonna play any games. I am thinking about playing classic WoW. But whenever I think about playing an MMO, it's gotten to a terrible point where I literally will be like, yeah, I'm gonna play it. Let's download it. Let's pay for a subscription for a month. And that'll make me play it. And then I just literally won't touch it. And I'll just give them my $15 and not do anything. And I was like, oh. Final Fantasy 14 is not basically WoW. That's one of its many faults. If Final Fantasy 14 was just literally World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King, it'd be a perfect game. What about Warcraft 3 Reforged? Everyone's gonna be playing Warcraft 3 Reforged. Every RTS person's gonna be playing Warcraft Reforged, especially every StarCraft person is gonna have it as their second game for a little while. And all the popular streamers will try it out again because they probably were getting invested into video games by the time Warcraft came out, and they probably played World of Warcraft. Like, it's actually kind of funny when people ask, are you gonna play Warcraft 3 Reforged? My very real answer is everyone will be. Whether that's like something they'll keep consistently playing is a whole nother thing. Final Fantasy 14 isn't free till level 30. Final Fantasy 14 is definitely like $12 a month or something. Feels like the only reason that Final Fantasy 14 can even have a monthly subscription base is because so many Japanese people play it. They don't play World of Warcraft. Because for a long time, people just figured you can't beat World of Warcraft if you're also going to have a pay-per-month subscription model. That's not so true anymore, but yeah. I thought Final Fantasy 14 had a basic bitch account that was cheaper, where you could have one character on like one server. All the skills are almost the same, the questing and the mounts are the same. To WoW? You're not talking to someone who hasn't played either game. You're talking to someone who's played both. I played Final Fantasy 11 back when that was out. I played Final Fantasy 14. I bought that original game because I thought it would be good, and it wasn't. And then they remade it, and I played it. I don't even think the feel is that similar. Does it feel closer than Final Fantasy 11 was? Sure. Because every video game had to get faster. But no. I play the monk, which is the fastest character class in that game. At least, I think it still is. But anyways, one of the fastest characters in the game, literally like global cooldown wise. And I literally sit there and go, Oh my god, why is this taking forever? Why isn't this WoW? Oh, my skill's finally up. Okay, gotta wait again. Alright, okay, our skill's finally up. Like, oh my god, it's so slow compared to Final Fantasy 14. Damn it, compared to WoW. Like, every MMO shares so many similarities with World of Warcraft because World of Warcraft did it the best. They set the standard. But I would never really tell someone it's like the same. It's an MMO with classes, mounts, both flying and ground, and you level a character until endgame, where you then spend most of your time grinding gear. Okay, yeah, that's the similarities for sure. But it's slower. The way that you level characters is slower. The talent tree is non-existent, right? Like, it's I don't know, man. $11 is broken now. Well, I didn't get very far in 11. That was back when I was a dumb kid who couldn't really figure out video games. But yeah, I IDK. I think 14 and WoW is actually pretty different. I know I'm being a little, over the top, JW. Like, I get your point. It's really too the thing about MMOs in general is that no matter what MMO you play, but I think this is like universal, is that you play the MMO, which takes up a severe amount of time just because you have to level and then you have to grind, and then you get to a totally different part of the game that a lot of people consider the main part of the game, which is like raiding and dungeoning. And it's so weird that it takes you hours and hours to get there. And you play that for however many years, probably. Most people play it for at least plural years. And then you look back on it after you stop playing and you're like, there's so many good times. Why did I stop playing this game? And you go back and you play it and you're like, right, because 70% of it is grindy bullshit. Only 30% of it was me having fun with my friends, doing raids and challenging ourselves. Not even 30%. Only 10% of it was that. And then 20% is the crappy raids and the crappy dungeons. And having your friends just take you through dungeons because they're like, you haven't done Nax yet? Oh, well, yeah, I mean, we're 2 expansions later, but you should really try Nax. It's fun. And then they just take you and one-shot everything. And they're like, wasn't that fun? And you're like, not as much as it probably would have been if I raided with you guys back when it came out. But sure. That's what happens with MMOs. So I'm like, I had some good times in WoW. I had some good stories from that game. But I literally played that game for 7 years. And yeah, I think I can safely say 5% of that time was actually me being like, that was the bomb diggity. The rest of it was leveling. And at this point, I'm willing to admit that I'm just actually a terrible leveler. I'm just very slow. I played WoW for a long time. I got into it in the beta. My brother was like, you should stop playing that, Final Fantasy 11 shit and try this game. So I used his account, which was in the beta, and then we shared accounts for a while, and then he stopped playing, so I just took over his account. 4 or 5 years into that, he actually tried to take his account back from me one day, and I was like, no, it's mine. You haven't played in 3 years. I've leveled all these characters. You can't have it. And I also was paying it as well. It wasn't like he was paying it and I was leveling. I'd also taken over the monthly billing for 3 years or whatever. Yeah, I played since beta up until... I played up until midway of Cataclysm, and then I was that person that would buy the expansions and be like, maybe we'll get back into it. My friends still play it. And I played the new expansion for 2 months and be like, this is too much, I can't do it. So everything's different. Never mind. It was a large part of my high school experience, man. I was a raid leader in college. Were we a very good raid? Were we a very good guild? No. But I was a raid leader. It's a top tier group. First to clear. Oh, what was ICC called? Icy Crown or whatever the fuck it was? Is that what it was called? I recognize that acronym. Yeah, it's always the worst feeling. Ice Crown Citadel, there we go. Something I didn't actually do. For me, two things happened. One, they kept introducing new things that I couldn't keep up with, so I was like... I remember coming back for like, not Mists of Pandaria, but the thing after. I think it was the one after where they introduced like the towns that you could build, like your own little army fortress tent thingy. Fuck, I don't remember what it was called. An encampment. And they're like, here's how you build your encampment. Now go back to the main base and go figure things out. And I was like, oh no, this is too much. I gave up. This is too much to learn. Never mind, guys. Goodbye. And then the other thing that happened was that I actually really... Wrath of the Lich King was the most fun for me because it was when I was playing the most. And it's also like just I knew everything because I played so much. So I was the person, I was the tank leading the dungeons, knowing exactly what to do and like making things easy for people. And I felt really confident in myself. And I loved having a Frost Death Knight tank. I thought that was so cool. I loved Frost as tank. And then the next expansion, they're like, we're gonna make Blood the official tank. And I was like, no! And then I also had to relearn all these dungeons. My strat in almost every MMO is to learn a dungeon by healing it, and then I become a tank eventually. But that strat only works when you put enough hours into the game to have both characters high enough level to do that. He never died, what people experienced was just a dream. If you're telling me that's the actual legitimate story that is in place right now, I'm gonna actually flip this table over. Please do not tell me that's what they, like, retconned. Are you fucking real? They went with, it's just a dream? Are you real? No. Someone else tell me this guy's trolling me, right? Oh, thank God. Okay. If you're gonna tell me that Arthas just like shows up in the most recent expansion and is like, what's up, suckers? I ain't dead. Give me that Jaina bitch. I would have lost all hope. All hope in Blizzard. Especially after they make Jaina have all this, like, sad background shit happening to her. Like, oh, my dad hated me, and oh, my family never liked me, and oh, I tried to do the good thing, but it never works out, and oh, my boyfriend went and became the evil Lich King. If they were just like, nah, you guys can have it happily ever after, here you go. That officially would have been the end of my hope in the Blizzard writers, man. Sometimes I wish I did pay attention to the story of any MMO I've ever played. People were like screaming about the new Final Fantasy XIV expansion. Because like the trailer had someone be like, this guy wasn't the last thingamajigger. And like chat went crazy. Like my friends that play Final Fantasy XIV, they were like, wait a minute, does that mean that he's not the last blankety blank? And I was like, Final Fantasy 14 is a story, guys? What? Really? Fear Dragon plays Final Fantasy 14. Played. And he always was very upset with me that I never really paid attention to the story. It's really hard to. It's really hard. I just want to spam and continue leveling. Yeah, I just... You know what? I'm gonna give myself a little bit of credit here, actually, and say that I tried. Like, around level, like, 30 or 40 or something. And Fear Dragon was like, no, guys, seriously, it gets really good. Which, by the way, he said this, like, every 5 levels or so. Oh, sorry, these next 5 levels are kind of boring, but I think it's really good. You didn't think that was cool? No, don't worry about it, though. But, like, the next thing becomes really cool. Like, I see your point about that other thing I said was really cool, but now this thing's really cool. And he'd watch the next thing. And then he'd be like, no, like, but like, it happens to get cooler, like, now. And I was like, well, Fear Dragon, does it ever actually get cool? Come on. Come on. So I legitimately tried. I did. I even tried watching, like, a video that was, like, you know, Final Fantasy 14 story explained. It was, like, 30 minutes. It was not a TLDR. And I still didn't think it was that great of a story. And much of the problem is that I think all the main characters of Final Fantasy 14 are actually kind of dumb. They all are so New Age square. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be, again, that, like, really old person. Where, like, you know, the majority of what makes you love a Final Fantasy game is the characters and the influence the story has on them. Yeah, the story itself can be good, of course, but a lot of time you just, like, strongly love a character, or you strongly love a character's presence in a story. And that's what I had up until 12 was kind of where it started to get a little bit iffy. In 12, I was like, okay, you know what? This Bosch character's kind of cool. And Balthier has a couple of really cool, you know, points. So, all right. And then fucking 13 came along. And I was like, all these characters are stupid. The story's stupid. The dialogue sucks. The music's okay. And that's an insult to Final Fantasy. So when 14 comes along and has admittedly better characters and better story and better music than 13, it was still the, like, New Age square characters. They were all, like, anime stereotypes, basically. There's all anime stereotypes. There's the blonde chick with the super high-pitched voice. There's the pretty boy, elf guy with the white hair. There's the, oh my god, our queen's actually a short person who doesn't look like she should be really, really strong, but she actually is. Anime stereotype. I was like, I don't care about any of these people. The only person I've ever cared about in 14, besides my friends and myself, is the monk trainer. He was actually kind of fun. When you level a pugilist, or however you say that, you learn that the guy training you is actually just, like, a show-off, and he kind of actually lost his skill a while ago. And you have to try and find him. Help him find his skill and his confidence again. Who plays MMOs to read? Apparently Final Fantasy players. Yeah, I can't even remember the guy's name. As much as I thought he was cool. Sid's a given. I think Final Fantasy 14 also has Biggs and Wedge, so we can name 3 characters. My favorite video game character. Oh. My favorite video game character. I don't know. I can tell you my favorite book character. And I feel like I do have a favorite video game character, but I can't think of it right now. It wouldn't be from Final Fantasy, believe it or not. I do love Zell. Pugilist. Oh, it's Pugilist. Okay. Sup? Man, I'm really trying to rack my brain here. No, I thought of it. Hold on. Hold on. I know who it is, and you guys actually might know, okay? I'm gonna let you guys take another couple of guesses before I say it. My favorite character in a video game. Any video game. I'll give you a hint. It's a woman. Yeah, it's Edmund Duke, actually. Carve out Edmund Duke, where his face looks like this. How'd you know? How'd you know, Dairy Farmer? It's not Kerrigan. It's not Samus. Alright, I'll give you guys another hint. Her statue is usually right behind me about here. Who's my favorite video game character, Rapid? Nova isn't even that cool. Get out of here with that, Nova. Pshaw. I feel like if I had some more in my regular crowd, they would have gotten it, but it has been a while since I've nerded out about Mass Effect, guys. It's Liara. Mass Effect Liara. Get the fuck out, Maynard. Leave. Yeah. Liara's my bae. No, I'm kidding, Maynard, don't leave. I knew I had a favorite video game character because she kind of follows the same storyline as my favorite book character. My favorite book character is Egwene. Her name is gonna, oh my god, her name's gonna be, it's probably like Egwene. It's apparently Egwene is how you pronounce her name in Wheel of Time. Which doesn't make any sense considering how it's spelled. But yeah, from Wheel of Time. She is kind of a lame character for the beginning of the series. She's kind of like an annoying, overbearing a bit. Definitely has sights set on things that are larger and more important than her initially. And you're kind of like, sit down, Egwene, sit down. And then she goes on this journey where she wants to become an Aes Sedai. She initially is like pretty talented in it, but then of course things happen and she has to leave. So she goes and convinces this like tribe of like super cool warrior woman in the desert that she's actually a full-fledged Aes Sedai, and she learns their customs and culture and how to be a badass. And then before she leaves to go join back with the non-desert people, she's like, by the way, I was lying and I want to be honest with you. And because Robert Jordan is actually kind of a weirdo, her punishment is like 15 lashings on the bottom, but whatever. So she takes her punishment in stride and goes back to like the usual crowd. The usual crowd's like, okay, so this chick's kind of like stupid, right? Like she's a real airhead. Like no, like she doesn't know what she's doing. She just like, she'll follow our directions. She'll do anything we ask. So let's vote her into basically to be the president of all the witches. That's basically what happens. Because they were going to just control her through strings. She was going to be a puppet. So Egwene figures this out and is like, yeah, I'll accept the offer. Please make me the president. And they do. And then as soon as that happens, she goes like the whole like, papa! And like, is like, yeah, actually I'm fucking in control now. You guys can do what I fucking say. And yeah, sorry, I'm not going to be a puppet, bitches. Peace. And then she saves the day at the end of the day. And I love that type of story. So Liara starts off as like this really weak, both in like character and power character who is very easily swayed one way or another and is like not a very strong character, and you're kind of like, meh, whatever. And then she becomes the shadow broker or whatever. And you're like, holy shit, she got really fucking cool. That's the type of progression of a character I like to see. I don't think Femship is cooler than Liara. Femship actually does not have that much of a character development. Even, regardless if you go Renegade or Paragon with her. Shepard is always a self-confident man or woman who has an ethically correct compass and always knows what to do and barely ever like learns anything because you're in control of the person. Liara actually went from someone who was just like point A to point Z, and you're like, whoa, you've really changed. I'm really excited for the Wheel of Time TV show on Amazon. I think they're doing it right. I think. We'll see, of course. But Amazon's done some pretty good shows. So, but they released the casting lineup for Wheel of Time just like a week ago or something. And I really like all their choices. I was really scared about most of them, but I think they're all pretty good. My favorite matchup from GSL. I said Serral versus... No, not Serral. I said a Laser versus Dark. Have they casted Avian done it yet? No. It was just the main characters. So, Rand, Perrin, Matt, Egwene, Nynaeve, Moraine. I feel like I'm forgetting one character, but that should be it. Game of Thrones is very bad and people seem to love it. Okay. I'll let you have your hipster opinion there, but I did read Game of Thrones and I thought that the first 2 or 3 seasons were quite accurate. And not in a way that was boring. Nah, they haven't casted Tom yet. But I also don't see... I don't know if you should really compare Game of Thrones to this development. Because obviously everyone's looking for the next Game of Thrones. There's always that chance that they up the blood and gore and sex and stuff. They make it really, really dramatic. There's always that chance. It is an entirely different company with a very different source material. And they are getting basically the next best thing. Probably a better thing than Robert Jordan giving them advice. They actually have Brandon Sanderson giving them advice and rewriting the scripts. So that makes me pretty hopeful for it. So when am I do RE2? I don't think I bought Resident Evil 2. Could be wrong, maybe I did. So Matt's gonna be really badly written. Granted, I didn't really care about Matt that much, so if you think he was badly written under Brandon Sanderson, then I can't really dispute it. But I know a couple of friends who fucking loved Wheel of Time, and Matt was their favorite character. And while they found him underutilized in the last 3 books, they didn't find his character poorly written. You need a Steam? Your name is literally Houseless Gamer. I don't think I feel comfortable taking $50 from you. Am I interested in the Witcher TV show? Yes. I actually really want to get into The Witcher, and I tried getting into Witcher 2. It didn't really hook me, though. Brandon's Matt was just jokes, jokes, jokes. I mean, I thought Robert Jordan's mat was just jokes, jokes, jokes. Insert Dom sex situation here. Jokes, jokes, jokes. Like, I don't really see the difference. Brandon Sanderson did this thing where he actually felt like he made every character no longer super one-dimensional, especially in terms of like just gender dynamics. Like, I feel like this is almost indisputable, this is what I'm about to talk about. But if you guys have never read Wheel of Time, and many people haven't, I don't even blame you. It's 13, 14 books and stupidly long. But Robert Jordan had two really big faults. One was that he very clearly occasionally just like wanted to kind of like get off on the idea of certain sexual things happening, which is really weird. And then two, and this is where I think it's like undisputable, is that he also had this idea that like lol woman are woman and lol men are men. That was so much of the humor and descriptions of people's opinions in the 8 books and until he unfortunately died, that I got so annoying. There is far less, oh, Rand's just being a man. And Rand going, oh, the women are doing womanly things. In the last 3 books, it was such a relief. Oh, hey, Grant. Oh, have you read it? Because if you just started to read it, I don't want to spoil it. I only got into 3. Originally, Wheel of Time was supposed to be 3 books. I'll just get Asimov's Foundation trilogy made into a series or movies. You mean a good series or movies? Because I didn't think iRobot was particularly good. Oh, okay. Alright, then I'll try not to spoil anything. We're just talking about the different writing styles between Sanderson and Jordan. I mean, I think Brandon Sanderson is a much better writer. I'm not gonna say Sanderson's like better just like in general, because I actually, in some ways, I don't like Sanderson's overly complicated world building. Like, I know people fucking love that. People are like, no, you don't get it. Like, Sanderson makes his own magic, and his world is like, it spans literally like aeon, like thousands of years beforehand, and he's even writing a book about the same world 1,000 years ago because the guy writes like all the fucking time. And I just think that it's so amazing. And I'm like, you know, after reading like 6 different books from Sanderson, I'm actually a little done with how much he loves his own world and his own magic systems, you know what I mean? Sometimes it feels just a little overbearing. Was I'm really that good? It's quite good. Like, it's a very typical fantasy novel, and does have a lot of those like faults, like I was just saying, where like sometimes it feels the characters are a little one-dimensional in their thinking, but it's actually a very good series. It drags a little bit after book 6 until Sanderson takes over as well, but it's very interesting. My favorite book series is actually a very basic bitch fantasy series called The Bulgariad. But my favorite book probably right now is book series is probably the Stormlight Archives. The stupid thing was character substitute profanity for the word storm, and I just can't. Yeah. It'd be the equivalent of us saying, you know, lightning every time we got upset. I did not like Oathbringer as much as other people. I agree with that. Some people were like, Oathbringer just added a whole nother level to the series. And I was like, meh. I especially was disappointed in how Oh, it's been a while. What's the chick's name? The main heroine here. Redhead. I was kind of disappointed with her in Oathbringer. Like the whole section about how she, spoiler alert for Oathbringer, guys, about how she befriends an orphan and then accidentally gets him killed and she has to deal with that guilt. I actually thought was like, I don't know how to put it. Like I just didn't have actually much empathy. I was already kind of done with her being super moody and feeling like the weight of the world was against her type things, and oh, is my moral compass correct? I feel like it was already done, and I just didn't really care for it. Shalon, yeah, exactly. Read LF Celine. I actually have no idea who that is. Yeah, same here, Grant. Like, I read the Bulgariad every year, and then I also play Final Fantasy X every year, because they're such a familiar, easy thing to reread and replay. But the Bulgariad is like that and its sequel, the Malarian or whatever, and the 3 books that he did, Belgarath and Polgara, and then the Riven Codex. That series of books, great. You try and read more things by David Eddings, and you realize it's just the same thing rehashed in a different character. And you're like, oh, never mind. I was particularly happy that they didn't make what's-his-face the savior of the world again in Oathbringer. I mean, the one thing that I think is just like hands down he is the best at it for Sanderson isn't his world building, which is obviously elaborate and very good, isn't his character writing, which I think is superior to many other authors. The best thing that he has going for him, for sure, is his ability to, like, write climaxes. Like, holy shit. Like, I don't think I've ever been more psyched about a action scene in a book, like, ever, than when he does his big reveals and shit. So in Oathbringer, when Dalinar comes back and is like, yeah, I took my beating and I liked it and I'm gonna live with this forever, you're just like, oh my god, holy shit, that's so fucking cool. No one else actually writes that amazing of scenes. Right, it's like I have it in my head and I imagine how cool it looks, and it's probably like a little bit anime to be honest, but it makes it cooler. And if it was ever like translated into a TV series, that's gonna be like the best episode of all time. No other writers really made me feel that way. The huge, the battle in the winds at the end of, yeah, I think it was the first book. When What's-His-Face figures out how to control the flying ability. And that's the same, like, in Wheel of Time, like, yeah, some of the action scenes are really cool. And then Brandon Sanderson comes in. And again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but the finale, the final book finale in Wheel of Time was just, like, oh my god, it made me feel so much. Oh, no. Paint on something if you don't mind, okay? Stepson, he's 10 years old. He's masters 1, sometimes 2. Zerg on NA. He's dropped swimming and taekwondo. Nah. No, that's, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Nope, nope. Nope. If you look at any of our established pros right now, they all have much healthier lives than I think, like, TY did, for instance. And TY only started when he was, like, 12? He wasn't even 10. He was 12. That's still so incredibly young. You look at all our foreigner heroes, and like they actually had pretty well-balanced lives. They all went to school and graduated. Maybe they aren't going to college yet, but they still graduated high school. Sorry, Grant. Yeah, you know, message me in about a year when you actually finish the Wheel of Time series. It's gonna take a while. I started rereading it before I came to Korea. For me, I don't really like using my Kindle. I like the feel of books. But the one good thing about the Kindle is I could bring many books with me. Fortnite World Cup winner is just 15. I mean, it's not even like worth asking if he's full-time or not, because I don't think it matters. You don't tell a 10-year-old to drop everything that they're doing and try and go pro. Especially in a game that has no chance of ever giving out $1 million in one sitting. Maybe if StarCraft 2, if he got first at BlizzCon and he was given $10 million, maybe I could see an argument. And even then, I don't think it's a good one. Because you take that $10 million and you invest it wisely and you make sure it doesn't spend, you know, all but 200,000 of it for whatever he wants. And he's probably set for life. You teach him, you know, good skills and good money management. But even if this kid ends up being like the next Cyril, which is highly unlikely, that's still like Cyril could like relatively has not made that much money in the 2 years of domination that he's had. And from what I hear, he doesn't exactly make a ton of salary from Ents either, so. Because the lighting. Yeah, it's definitely true. Having to turn on like the airplane light and like annoy your neighbors always feels bad. Actually, the worst thing about real books for me, especially what we're talking about, Wheel of Time and Stormlight Archives, is because they're like thick, chunky books. Holding them puts a strain on my wrists. The last like 200 pages of Brandon Sanderson books, I'm actually in physical pain because I've been holding the book for so long and it's like 5 pounds. But I don't want to put it down. Sometimes I have no idea what is best. Not that I'm ever gonna raise your kid, you know, better than you can. But I'm pretty much telling you right here, right now, do not let him drop his extra hobbies. It's called books like that tree killers. There was this Reddit thread that was like 30 years ago, everyone was telling you to buy plastics to save the rainforest. And now everyone's telling you to buy paper to recycle and save the world. You're welcome, Cynicus me. I mean, I don't really know what's best, but I feel pretty strongly I'm telling you the right thing right now. I wonder if prize winnings from an American company is also double taxed. I know people who are paid by a company, American company, and aren't American, are double taxed. What about prize winnings? It's such a weird area, and people are really cracking down on it too. There's not really ever been such a widespread market over many different countries of many different ages that involve prize winning. like Esports is doing right now. I mean, even with like professional athletes, you could argue that they at least had to be in the country to win this money. But now it's like, well, they weren't in the country, but they won this money through a tournament, through a competition. And the American company paid for it, or sometimes the American company paid the French company to do it, and then they gave them the money, but it was given by the American company, and it's just like, how does this all make sense? Prize are taxed like normal income. Well, that makes sense, right? Because lottery tickets are, right? So it should be the same. So prize winnings from an American company, aka Blizzard. Although Blizzard Europe exists for a reason, so not always Blizzard America. Would be double taxed. I feel like a lot of people, professional accountants included, professional lawyers included, are kind of like, it's probably okay. It's probably okay if you do it this way or that way. It's okay, Grant. You can ask me if I'm going to Home Story Cup. No, I'm not. Not unless they asked me to. Not unless they flew me out. But I'll probably not be going back to Home Story Cup ever again as a vacation. They haven't booked talent yet. That doesn't surprise me. Even without like saying like, oh, it's Take TV being Take TV, like it's just like, even Blizzard doesn't really book talent that super early. But it would surprise me if I was chosen to go over there. I just feel like there's no reason for me to be chosen. Is the one in Las Vegas still happening? No. It's back to being just a dream. It'd be good to see you. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to do it. I'd love to see all the Europeans again as well, because I'm not going to be seeing Europeans, it feels, for a long time. Who knows what WCS will look like next year. But that's the realism of it. Not a ton of tournaments for people to cast. And not a ton of money to go around to be affording people in general. But especially people that are like far away. If I wanted to travel all over the world more, I should have gotten into any other esport. Except fighting games. Fighting games stays like feels mostly in America. If I wanted to travel the world more, I should have gotten into CSGO. I foresee ZG doing BlizzCon this year. There's things happening, guys. There's I would argue against it in the past, but I think as of right now, there's a fairly high chance I will be at BlizzCon. Yeah. But I don't necessarily think it's for the reasons I want them to be. Vagueness. Fighting games getting more global now? Oh, cool. I mean, I figured there's like a couple of opportunities to go to Europe, a couple opportunities to go to Japan. Even Korea has some like really cool fighting scenes. But it just never feels like when I see a big fighting game event, it always seems to be in America, and they bring everyone here. But of course, I don't watch many fighting events, so feel free to correct me. I wish I could get into like a fighting game a lot. I actually really like watching Street Fighter. Probably the most out of any of the fighting games. And I watched the Dragon Ball Z occasionally. But, you know, everyone says that Melee and Super Smash Bros. Are like the most accessible, the most popular, and despite having played it, like everyone else in the world, and that's why it's so easy to watch, is that like everyone's played Super Smash Bros. I'm not like really into it. Well, that's cool to hear, Gumblebee. I mean, it really does seem like fighting games in general are growing, but it is a very different atmosphere. Fighting games, very much so to me, feel like the track and field of the esports world. Track and field's actually a hugely popular sport in terms of people who actually participate in it, and people who practice it even accidentally, right? Like track is something you would practice in PE. So when you watch someone go fast, you're like, wow, I could never go fast. But as far as like a watched sport, it's just not very popular except for the Olympics. And that's what fighting games feels like to me. Fighting games is like this huge umbrella term for many, many different games that are all almost as popular as the other one, the next one. People can literally be like, the, you know, triathletes and decathlon athletes or whatever, and play many fighting games and be good at them. And then they kind of have their one big Olympic style event, Evo, where you can participate in many different games and have a billion commentators because there's so many of them happening. When Riot's new game comes out, yep, probably. That'll probably give a big boost. It'll probably also give like commentators a chance to actually have a steady gig, which I can't be mad at, even though Riot seems like kind of a questionable company. They don't want it. Yeah, Fear Dragon tells me about that. How they like, what was it? They literally say no to like sponsors. Like if someone's sponsored in the community, they're like, you're a fucking sellout. That's so fucking weird. You know, people kind of say it as a joke, I think, in other esports, but in the fighting game community, it's like, no, you're actually the devil now. Don't get paid for this thing you like to do. It's so crazy. It's like Nintendo came in to Super Smash Bros, or rather didn't come in, right? Super Smash, like 15 years ago, was like, hey, Nintendo, I think we're pretty cool. Do you want to give us any support? And Nintendo was like, who are you again? Oh, you're our child? Oh, we don't really remember you. Sorry. And then ever since then, fighting games were like, well, we didn't even want you. We don't even need you. We don't need money. We have passion. And it's like 15 years later, and it's like, well, you guys have like a billion other companies producing fighting games. You don't want any money? Alright. See you, Okigear. Good luck. I actually, as much as I'm making fun of them, I understand some of the very legitimate fears. Like, to be real for a second, there is a absolutely legitimate fear of getting developer influence in an esport, because as soon as the developer stops being interested, no matter how popular your game is or how much it was sustained beforehand, suddenly everything's just gone. Like, that is a very real reason not to take some of these opportunities. So it's fun to make fun of them, and especially for the people who are actually probably just assholes who are like, you shouldn't get money, you should just play for passion. But I can understand any legitimate concerns they have. When MLG dropped Tekken, it killed the scenes for years after. There you go. Perfect example. Although that's a little weird, right? Because the problem with I don't know how to say. Thank you, Hard Revenge. It's been 30 years. Because MLG didn't own Tekken. But if the entire community rallied around MLG's rule set and competition and league, then it mostly is the same thing. But the real scary thing about like Blizzard, for instance, dropping any game is that even if X company, like IEM, let's say, randomly, even if IEM really, really loved Heroes of the Storm and had good results in it, Blizzard could just literally be like, well, you know, that's still our thing, so no, you can't. Sorry. And that's the really, really scary thing. Where MLG obviously never owned Tekken. Who owns Tekken? It's like Namco or some shit? Bandai? The Nintendos? Bandai, Namco. I was definitely mixing both of those words together. A lot of people call them Bamco. That's much easier, thank you. Yes. Exactly, Bamco. But it is still that idea that if one entity creates a very appealing offer that then swallows any other potential offer or league that could have happened, and then all of a sudden just drops it. Yeah. That's the idea that's very scary. Annoys people who work for them. So I should go to Bamco headquarters and call them Bamco. You know, my music. I feel so alone without it. Main problem with Blizzard? Well, I mean, it's complicated, right? Because on the other hand, what if MLG and NASL and IEM were going to either die or give up on StarCraft for whatever reason, and WCS never came along? Or what if the scene stayed stagnant because there was no extra money or extra investment put into it? That's also pretty bad. So at the same time that you can like kind of like hindsight 2020 be like, oh, you know, I really wish that Blizzard hadn't gotten involved here. You can't deny that for a while it was like, oh my god, extra money, extra opportunities for jobs, like consistent jobs as well. Like, when's Blizzard gonna fold? Probably never. When's NASL gonna fold? Maybe tomorrow. Yeah. So it's definitely never easy. I actually think a company that's doing it pretty damn well, who's kind of like hitting the correct line, hitting the 50-50s, is apparently Rainbow Six. Ubisoft isn't exactly a perfect company. That's who does it, right? I mean, no one really wants to use Uplay. And they have some other games that have gotten some backlash. But it seems like they are very encouraging to esports tournament organizers like IEM and any other pop-up organizer that comes around. They are very encouraging and will help them develop a good tournament and even promote them. And then they also have their own investment into Rainbow Six. Like I know it's not perfect and I'm not super ingrained in the scene, but it's one that I'm very interested in just watching as like a spectator, because I think that they do seem to be hitting that right line, which for the last 20 years has just been unexplored territory. And people obviously stumbled. Blizzard was the first to stumble because it was also the first to really bring esports to where it was. StarCraft 2 is the reason that we're at where we are now. Esports is fascinating. True, that's true as well, Maynard. And technically CSGO kind of had that going for it as well. Started off as a laughing stock to the original CSGO 1.6 and then got better. But a lot of the reasons R6 became so popular is because they did actually make all the right moves. It seems, aside from like one or two big complaints, there's like a map that people really hate in the map pool apparently, and a couple of what they call their characters something official sounding, and I forget what it is right now. They're officers or whatever. Like a couple of their officers are like a little overpowered or provide boring gameplay, but for the most part, it sounds like they actually hired people very passionate about the game and fixed a lot of problems and balanced things out. Operators, there we go. Well, there's like almost drama everywhere when it comes to China sponsorship. So if R6 got it too, I don't know what to say. People are pointing out that Nation Wars is once again using Chinese TACP, and it's like, well, China, am I right, guys? What are you gonna do? Which esports was big when Guild Wars 1 was popular? Did Guild Wars have a good esport? Was Guild Wars PvP actually good? I'm in disbelief because I feel like no MMO ever had watchable PvP. Yeah, you know, Maynard, on the one hand, China is committing a lot of human atrocities and kind of sucks in general. On the other, they seem to be really interested in StarCraft. And tournaments and stuff too. Yeah, but was it... I mean, World of Warcraft's PvP has had tournaments since it was released. That doesn't mean PvP was actually that good. Although, I mean, now that you bring it up, I do vaguely recall hearing that Guild Wars PvP was better than WoW's. Yeah, I don't think any MMO actually has, like, interesting PvP to watch, but... It's also very different when you actually play the video game. It always is. League of Legends looks like a bunch of rainbow vomit on the screen until you actually play a couple of games. And then you're like, oh, I see how that's actually a really intelligent move, what they did there. WoW has MDI? Don't know that acronym. I tried watching World of Warcraft PvP a couple times in the last 10 years. And most recently was like 7 months ago. And I witnessed a cool looking battleground. Don't know what it's called. Can't describe it. It was 3v3. And the shamans put down their totems. And then, I'm not kidding, nothing happened for 8 minutes before I just turned off the stream. And it wasn't that they were prepping. There was no analyst who was, you know, holding up the lobby. That was actually the beginning of the battle, and then no one trespassed over each other's totems.
Subscription received. Apparently you are doing something right, Captain.
Oh, well that's PvE. Competitive PvE, I actually do get the appeal of. I actually do like watching that. Thank you, Skull19, for the 7-month resub. You're gonna be at 9 months soon. And that'll work out so well with your name. There you go. I think the idea of someone, like, people collectively working together against, like, an AI common goal is fun. Plus, that goes into, like, time-based... Like, it's almost like... It's a race. It's literally a race. And we like races. We know we like, you know, occasionally like watching track and field. So even though the actual act of what they're doing and how they're spamming their abilities isn't ever going to translate to someone who just, like, doesn't do it. I'm not going to be like, wow, that guy was so good. He pressed that F button real hard. I can at least be like, holy shit, that they're up against that time and they're about to beat that time and oh my god. And then I feel like the casters explaining the strategy of how to beat a boss in those games is very akin to, like, listening to speedrunners describe the next challenge, which I think is interesting. I have cosmetics in my room. No, those aren't, it's not makeup. It's skincare. But also, yeah, if they were cosmetics, I mean, what's... Why would that be weird? The abilities aspect is why I find it hard to follow Overwatch. Yeah. Well, Overwatch, I think, would have a similar common goal like World of Warcraft does. Except there is that opposing team. And you also have the option of not completing the goal, yet still being rewarded, right? So it seems like that much harder to follow because of those two things. And a hairbrush without a mirror? You know you don't really need a mirror when you brush your hair, right? But I do actually have a mirror. If I brushed my hair, got all the knots out, and was like, oh, but like, should I part it left or should I part it right? I could just go to this mirror, right, that's next to me. You can't see. And look at myself. I feel like you're really judging my background right now. I am making do with what I have. Bongo cat. This is the point of the night where we start watching YouTube videos, guys. No, it's not actually... Oh, there it goes. No. I love Bongo Cat for songs. Oh, stop it right there. I thought it was Final Fantasy 14 song. Oh, that's definitely 16. There's someone that actually makes nothing but Bongo Cat. Like, music videos. Like, this is amazing. don't think this is the Bongo Cat guy, but... Bongo Cat's one of the best memes of all time. I think so. I think you're right. It's just totally... It's a safe meme, you know? Oh no, I think Olivia was showing me K-pop Bongo Cat. Prepared to get the VOD muted. Oh my god, that's what it was. Yeah, it's not getting muted. The question is it better or worse than the original song? Oh, this is the guy. I found it. This guy just like ran with this meme, man. Oh yeah, we're listening to this, guys. I said, how is this not muted? It still sounds so much like the original song. If only they played this in the club, right? It's a little shaker, guys. I mean, no lie. When Despacito came on in the club, everyone was dancing. We'll get too tart when this is played. This is the new background music, guys. You learn the words? Well, luckily Justin Bieber is there to sing them in English for us. Good morning. Well done, Bongo Cats. Well done. I don't even know some of these songs, man. This started 10 months ago. I think this is the one Olivia showed me. We got 8 million views. Damn cats. Didn't know there's a Bieber version? Oh. I'm pretty positive that's the most popular version. I love when these guys like have no description either. They just make tons of money from these random ass videos. wait, what happens? Hold on. Oh, wait. Oh my god, watch this cat, you guys. Okay, soon. What? This cat gets a rifle. Just for that one part. Well, that took a turn. There's a chicken in this one, guys. I'm gonna put this back up just for this one. This guy's good, man. I appreciate these videos. Got 2 chickens. I also love the description. After an unproductive studio session with the cats, they deemed Idol too difficult to cover. People who are interested in the Idol instrumental. Oh, I thought he had the Bongo Cats on download. Damn. It's such a harmless meme, you know? It's like Rickrolling, man. No one gets upset over Rickrolling. Alright, back to music. Uh-oh, stuck on a loop. Uh-oh, guys. Thank God there's people investing their time in stuff like this. With 8 million views, he actually probably made a decent amount of cash for that one. But you gotta think that, you know, his first video got like 3,000 views, which is like nothing. And then he makes another one just like kind of for fun. And then boom. You're right. Thank God for people who do that with their spare time. What was the name of the first song? Blackpink. Literally, it's called Doo 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 Doo. With the cats, you got like a bongo cat Blackpink. You know, find the YouTube channel. Apparently people just won in Dota. Yay, people winning. It kind of so Shiver became a host, right? Just like entirely. I don't know if we have any Dota fans in chat. But that's what happened, right? She doesn't commentate anymore. Damn. Imagine filling up the stadium. Like walking up on stage to just that many people. Isn't there something going on with Dota right now? No big deal, Inferno, just the international. It's kind of a big deal. If you didn't know. Kind of has like $25 million up for grabs or something. People love Dota. Personally, I'm scared of Dota. Literally, the characters in the game make me feel depressed and sad, and it makes me scared. No, it just says let's roll, and then it has a picture of a skate. About Gabe going to see his love child? Who's Gabe in this context? I think it's over 30 million at this point. There you go. All right, then. I just hope that they know they'll never get my hard-earned StarCraft dollar. All my dollar bills go to StarCraft. Except I didn't buy a second war chest. I used my war chest money on my ladder account this time instead of my caster account. But my ladder account isn't the one that's connected to my Twitch account. So I'm not gaining any experience points, war chest experience, when I watch streams. I didn't think about that when I bought it. Oh, did Red Bull just beat... Is that Evil Geniuses? I'm already capped? Whoa! Someone watched a lot of StarCraft. I'm not too worried about maxing out my war chest. I will eventually play it a lot. Sorry, Destination Limbo, my bad. I'm thinking I'll actually go grab some cold buckwheat noodles. Since my din din was a little disappointing. Do you have a favorite Zerg player? Cyril? I have really boring answers about favorite players, to be honest. My favorite player in general is probably Innovation. My favorite Zerg player is probably Cyril. I always believe in Cyril. Yes, I am Masters. Sorry, Dins wasn't good. Well, you should be sorry, Maynard, because it's your fault. I'm glad you apologized. Just kidding. No one's fault. I think I chose kind of, you know, I need to choose the safe options for takeout. Need to go ahead and get, you know, like some fried chicken or some pizza. Maybe some bibimbap. Can I have that there bibimbap? Same crib is back in great foods. That's true. We'd be out having dinner and drinks right now instead of through the interwebs. What players are you looking forward to? Like seeing them improve? Time would be a good answer for that, yeah. Time is going to provide really fun games. I think I'll do pretty well at Montreal, too. Well, the guy who's leading Evil Geniuses in Dota looks like he was a little beanpole nerd until he was like 18, and then second puberty hit, and now he's like a jacked nerd. Also, those Evil Geniuses uniforms are pretty sharp. I like them. They have 7-Eleven in Korea like they do in Japan. Exactamundo. They also, weirdly enough, have a CVS. Is the parent company of the convenience stores that they are called CVUs. And as far as I knew it, CVS was mostly like a Eastern America thing. So I was surprised when I saw CVUs and it's like CVS, CVU by CVS or something like that. Haven't watched any TI at all yet. Well, it's fortunate because, you know, there's 10 days, so you barely missed the important things. You know, I like watching other esports for the pageantry and seeing how they do their desk segments and how they cast and stuff. As far as actually liking Dota, I don't really. Yes, we have CVS in Eastern America. No, I knew that. I am from Eastern America. I'm saying that I thought it was just an Eastern America thing. Like, New York doesn't have CVS's. They're all their own brand, and I don't see them when I go to California. But for some reason, Korea has a whole convenience store line owned by CVS. Yeah, I never seen a Rite Aid. No, never seen that. I am kind of just felt like 10 days. Nah, man. I would love to spend 10 days with the Caster family. That'd be like more like 12 days, or like when it comes to esports that actually have money, they even get flown out early to talk to the players. So it'd be more like 15 days. I'd love to spend 15 days with you. Ah, I thought I had him. Damn. They had fancy cabins for our players. They used to. I think the consensus was not the money that was necessary to build soundproof cabins, but was just that they didn't like how it looked on the broadcast. Yeah, well, hopefully I'll be there at BlizzCon this year. That's all we can hope for. Oh, I see you. I see you, Nat. I see you. Left. I am currently in Korea, yes. I'm also about to end the stream. Gotta go to the bathroom. That seems like a good point to end the stream on. Thank you for everyone sticking around, asking questions, having a good old time. It was a fun little mukbang. I think the next plan is to get a couple people who are also in Korea to come over and have a fun, chill, stupid stream before I leave, because I am leaving to go back to America next Thursday. Next Friday? Whatever. Time zones. Night Maynard, I miss you too. Yeah. I'll be back tomorrow. In like 17? No. In like 15 hours for a stream. I'm gonna finish the Carbot campaign. I literally have one more mission. So stupid. And then do some laddering. That'll be that. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.